All right, so if you are watching this video, what that means is that you probably finished gathering evidence out of all three articles. So you should have a says, means, matters chart with 4 quotes from each article here, filled out all the way across the row. You also should, to make sure that you're done, you should make sure that every one of the quotes in the why does it matter column has something to do with the prompt. So it talks about relevance. Now, my example and what I'm going to walk you through here is different than yours because I made up a prompt about the Iliad and the Odyssey, where your prompt is about Shakespeare and Julius Caesar. That's the only thing I changed about my sample prompt, so that means that your example should also talk about relevance in the why does it matter. So if your why does it matter, if you look at your stuff right now and your why does it matter notes here don't all talk about why it's relevant, then that would be the first step, is to go back and make sure that every example that you've picked either says this is relevant or this is not relevant or it has something to do with relevance. So if you've done that and you have everything filled out, then your next step is down here, these color-coded boxes down here. So what you're going to do now is take a look at all of your facts together and see how you can categorize them. If you remember back on Friday, we did some practice with putting things in buckets, right? We took our spaghetti facts or our Mustang facts or our banana facts and we kind of categorized things and said, well, all of these facts have something to do with this and all of these facts have something to do with that. So your first job will be to go through and figure out what are your categories of facts, right? Now, you might not use every quote that you found. That is okay. But what you definitely need is either 2 categories that at least have 3 facts or 3 categories that at least have 2 facts each, right? So the reason for this is because whatever facts you end up highlighting and changing colors on, those are going to become the building blocks of the essay that we're going to write, right? So if I decide that this box here, these boxes here belong in the orange category, then I'm going to come up here, I can change the background to the orange color, and then I can put it as part of my orange category, and I'm going to name my category here. So when I'm all done, what I should have is a handful of facts highlighted in different colors, right? So some articles I may have just used 2 of the facts, some articles I may have used all of them, but I should have at least 2 facts for each color that I have, and then I should have what's down here is the name of that category, right? So what I found in common about my quotes, and remember my quotes are about, the Iliad and the Odyssey, but I found that I had a lot of quotes that had to do with the Iliad and the Odyssey being important because they taught things about character. So I put all of those quotes together and I made them orange. And then I found that I had some other quotes that had something to do with how those texts teach some important life lessons. So I took all of those facts and I made them purple. And then I found some other facts that had to do with historical lessons. I took all of those and I made them this kind of like blue-green color, aquamarine, whatever you want to call it there. So that's step number 1, is start to color code and make sure that you have the right number of facts for each category, right? So I have, I only have 2 of my little aquamarine here, but I have more orange and I have more purple. So as long as I have at least 2 for my 3 categories, that's fine. Again, you could also totally eliminate category 3 and just make sure you have at least 3 of these and at least 3 of these. Because what your categories become are your body paragraphs for the essay. So if you finish categorizing everything, well, then you could even start thinking about, well, what would the topic sentence be for that paragraph, right? It's going to need to connect back to a thesis around whether Shakespeare and Caesar is relevant or not. So in my case, my topic sentence for my teaching character category becomes, well, one of the reasons that reading the Iliad and the Odyssey are still relevant to people today is because of the lessons these stories teach about how to develop strong character. So I've tied it back to my thesis, Iliad and Odyssey are relevant, and I've said, here's what this paragraph is all going to be about, teaching character, right? So you could also try that for your 3 or potentially your 2 different categories that you choose, but that would be after you go through and kind of sort them out. And again, remember, do not have to use all of the quotes that you found. You can categorize them however you like, as long as you aim for your categories to be different from each other, right? Just like the body paragraphs in an essay would need to be about different things. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If not, do the best you can, and tomorrow we will touch base and make sure you're headed in the right direction.